Clark's plan is in place. Every soldier is prepared for the fight.
I could barely believe it. My body was shaking, but no longer from the cold. It was from the excitement for the situation. We could see between the logs of the fort wall and clearly made out soldiers. Walking between the walls and their campfires, we waited in anticipation while keeping a watchful eye upon the fort. This sitting still and waiting business almost was tougher on me to take than it was for me to slashing through the blasted freezing water. Finally, Lieutenant Bailey quietly passed the word to make ready. The clicking as muskets and rifles came to full cock was almost unbearably loud in the stillness of the night. My heart was pounding so fast and so furious in my ears that I was afraid I would not hear the commands, moments later, loud enough for those within the firing range to hear. The lieutenant gave the word, fire. How peculiar it was we received no return from the fort. We later learned that the British believed us to be drunken Indians. Apparently firing of weapons outside the fort was not uncommon. Only after a British soldier had been shot did the others inside the garrison finally wake up to the fact that they were under attack.
We heard Lieutenant Bailey's company firing on our left. We could see that the British in our fort had been aroused. Captain Bowman and Colonel Clark's troops now joined in the ruckus. And then did the fun ever begin. Great sport for the Sons of Liberty. The drums now sounded and the business fairly commenced on both sides. As we set in on the fort, some of the French from the town supplied us with food. It was the first nourishment I had in days. The warmth in my belly was equaled by the knowledge that the French at the site were behind us. Our rate of fire was amazing, and we made noise enough for a much larger army. I was sure that this battle soon would be done and that victory would be ours, even if we had to storm the fort. Everything seemed to happen all at once. The 2 days of our siege seemed but a blur now. 3 days prior, we were fighting cold water and hunger for our very lives, while the British sat snug, dry, and well-fed in their fort. That was 3 days before. Here it was only a wall, and that wall paled in comparison to what we already had faced. The British would find the wall offered little protection from our rifles or our vengeance. Victory was ours, and on February 25th, 1779, the British surrendered and the walls of Fort Sackville became the walls of American Fort Patrick Henry. After the fort's surrender, we put Lieutenant Governor Hamilton in chains and delivered him to Virginia. While Hamilton was headed east, we planned to march north to Detroit and continue our attack on the British strongholds.
The men's journey was worth it. They had struggled through the prairie, the cold water, the hunger, and they accomplished their goal. They continued to hold Fort Sackville, renamed Fort Patrick Henry for the duration of the war, but they never make it to their final goal, Fort Detroit. Our country began its journey to its current form, thanks to George Rogers Clark and his 170 men.